Imagine climbing onto a ship that looks completely normal. The sails are still hanging in the wind. The cargo is untouched. The crew's clothes are neatly folded. Food sits on the table. A child's toy rests on the floor. But there is one impossible detail. Not a single person is aboard. No captain. No sailors. No passengers. Just silence. On December 5th, 1872, the British brig Dei Gratia spotted another ship drifting through the Atlantic Ocean. From a distance, nothing seemed unusual. Its sails were damaged, but it was still floating. Captain David Morehouse ordered several sailors to board the vessel. As they climbed onto the deck, something felt wrong. There was no greeting, no footsteps, no voices. The ship was completely empty. Its name was Mary Celeste. Just 1 month earlier, Captain Benjamin Briggs had sailed from New York. He was no reckless adventurer. He was one of the most respected captains in America. He even brought his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, on the voyage. 7 experienced sailors completed the crew. Their destination was Genoa, Italy. The cargo was ordinary. More than 1,700 barrels of industrial alcohol. Nothing suggested disaster. Nothing suggested history. Then everything changed. The crew disappeared without leaving a body behind. The strangest part was not what investigators found. It was what they did not find. There were no signs of violence, no blood, no weapons, no struggle. The captain's cabin remained organized. Personal belongings were untouched. Money was still inside. Jewelry remained where it belonged. If pirates had attacked, why leave valuables behind? If mutiny had happened, where were the bodies? If a storm destroyed the ship, why was the vessel still floating? Every answer created another question. Investigators noticed something else. The ship's only lifeboat was missing. A rope hung loosely from the stern. It looked as if someone had intentionally lowered the boat into the sea. But why would an experienced captain abandon a ship that was still afloat? That single decision transformed an accident into one of history's greatest maritime mysteries. The last official logbook entry was dated November 25th. 9 days had vanished from history. No diary explained them. No witness survived to describe them. It was as if those days had been erased from the Atlantic itself. Rumors exploded across newspapers. Some claimed pirates kidnapped everyone. Others blamed giant sea monsters. Some imagined a giant octopus pulling sailors into the ocean. Others believed an enormous whirlpool swallowed the crew. As the years passed, the stories became even stranger. Alien abductions, ghost ships, sea curses. The Mary Celeste became a legend. But legends often hide ordinary truths behind extraordinary stories. So what actually happened? The cargo offered investigators an important clue. Industrial alcohol is highly flammable. Several barrels were later discovered to be leaking. Modern scientists believe alcohol vapor may have accumulated inside the cargo hold. Then something unusual could have happened. A pressure explosion, not a fireball, not a massive blast, just a sudden burst of flame caused by vapor igniting. Experiments performed more than a century later demonstrated that alcohol vapor can create an explosion powerful enough to frighten everyone on board, while leaving surprisingly little physical damage. Captain Briggs may have believed the ship was seconds away from exploding. If that happened, abandoning ship would seem perfectly reasonable. He could have ordered everyone into the lifeboat while keeping the vessel attached with a long rope. The plan was simple. Wait until the danger passed, then return. But the Atlantic Ocean rarely respects simple plans. A sudden gust of wind could have snapped the rope. The Mary Celeste continued drifting. The lifeboat did not. Within minutes, the distance between them would have become impossible to close. The captain watched his ship disappear. His crew watched with him. No one ever saw them again. Does that solve the mystery? Not completely. Some historians argue there is not enough evidence for the vapor explosion theory. Others point toward rough weather. A faulty pump may have convinced Captain Briggs that the ship was taking on dangerous amounts of water. Without modern instruments, he had to rely on imperfect information. A cautious decision may have become a fatal mistake. That possibility is perhaps more frightening than any ghost story. Sometimes people do everything right, sometimes experience is not enough. Sometimes survival depends on one decision made with incomplete information. The Mary Celeste drifted for hundreds of miles without a single person aboard. It silently carried its cargo across the ocean. It became one of the most famous ghost ships in history. Not because of monsters, not because of aliens, but because no explanation answers every question. Every generation returns to the case hoping to solve it forever. Every generation leaves with one more mystery. The Atlantic keeps its secrets remarkably well. Perhaps that is why this story refuses to disappear, because the greatest mysteries are not the ones with impossible answers. They are the ones where every answer feels almost believable. One empty ship, one missing lifeboat, 9 missing days, and an ocean that has never told us the rest. Some mysteries are solved, others become part of history, and a few stay with us forever. The Mary Celeste is one of them. Maybe we'll never know exactly what happened, but that's what makes stories like this impossible to forget. If you enjoy documentaries that uncover history's greatest mysteries, you're in the right place. Subscribe, because the next mystery is already waiting.